verse we're going to launch for that is out of 37. And Joseph dwelt in the land wherein his father was a stranger. Where at? Roll with me, y'all. Verse 1. Canaan. Right?
Correct.
We found out today that that's a landmass. So you had Hebrews living in Canaan. All right? These are the generations of Jacob. Joseph being 17 years old. How old was he?
17.
He's just a boy.
Yes.
Was feeding his flock with his, talk back,
Brethren.
not my words. And the lad was the son of who?
Bala.
And was with the son of Bilhah. And with the sons of who? Do y'all know who these people are?
The wives of Jacob.
It was the handmaidens to the wives of Jacob. Which we see something already about that multiple marriage thing, right?
What nationality? Yeah, that's
Were they Hamites?
that is correct. If you remember the pattern with the Israelites, Abraham had what? Sarah, the Egyptian woman, and then you notice that what? That the Israel, he had first. He was tricked into Leah, then Rachel, and then they had two maids, Zilpah and Bilhah, and they were also Egyptian or Ethiopian. Okay, so they're always marrying amongst them. They're not marrying Europe. Just making sure that you can, and the pattern is always there. Okay, so you must note that. And if you look also at Joseph, who did Joseph marry? Okay, now Joseph, he didn't mess up. So we can't say that he messed up. Okay? So that means, hey, that's not, these are ideas and thoughts that people are put in our minds, that anything black is what? Bad. And so if you're in Egypt, oh, no way, man, you know that. And the same thing, what about who did Moses marry?
Zipporah.
Right, and who was the dad?
She was a Egyptian.
Midian, that's right, that's Ethiopian, that's Nubian, that's right. And Jethro was the dad. And it's interesting that he asked Jethro to go with him. And he said, no, I can't go with you, Okay? And he told him about how to get the 70 elders and all that stuff. So they were connected. I mean, for some reason, this is what I'm finding out is, we forget about the first 2,000 years as if no one worshiped Yah. And I'm going into all that when we hate that, that's advanced. But the bottom line is that all of that, and that's why when you see them interacting with Joseph's wife, who was she? She was the priest of Alms.
Yes.
And the pattern was, well, why are these famous people marrying priests of Nubians, priests of Egypt? And there was a time when, before Abraham, 2,000 years before, they worshiped Yahweh. They fell away. Just like us, we worship Yahweh, and we fell away. That doesn't say that, hey, that you never worship Yahweh. That just means what? You got to get your act together. And that's why they interact, and that's why they marry that. And so that's why when you read through our book, you'll see that these are African Hebrew Israelites. Just think about it for 1 second. If you have 12 sons, right? And now they turn into 70, who are they marrying? Their daughter? Dana? No, point. The point across, but all of that is hidden from us in plain sight. It's right there. And he's constantly telling us that. It's just like Abimelech. Y'all remember Abimelech? What do y'all remember about Abimelech?
His whole household could
The
not
king of the
have
Philistines,
children.
what?
His household was forbidden to have children after he had taken Sarah.
Well, the
from
wombs,
Abraham.
is
He tied him
Abimelech.
up. He got tied.
Abimelech, anybody else? But you're right about that. But anybody else? Yeah.
Abimelech was going, when he was going to take Sarai, the Most High spoke to him and told him if he touched her, he'd be a dead man.
Genesis.
Everybody
Yeah,
got pregnant.
what we find is that he was walking close to Yahweh such that when someone lied to him, Yahweh revealed it.
Wow.
Now, how many of us walk that close?
Wow.
And then we say, the Europeans tell us that they didn't have the Spirit. How could you not have the Spirit when the Spirit, and he says that I know that they're lying to you. I know that. But the integrity of my heart and innocency of my hands have I done it. And he says, listen, not you, I kept you from sinning against me. So what does that tell you? Whoa. All of that we just lose. Because we have a prejudiced mind up against ourselves. And then we go, and then on top of that, he says, will thou slay a what?
Righteous.
Okay,
Y'all got the verse up?
Yeah, get that verse.
Y'all pull the verse
So
up.
this is the question.
Genesis
20, chapter 20. The question is, how can you have a righteous nation when we just getting a righteous family? That means that they had to been serving Yahweh for what? Long time. And so remember, there's 2,000 years before Abraham, 2,000 years when Abraham and we fell. Now there's 2,000 years for the time of the Gentile, and time will be up.
I'm going to show you all, because everything we do here, we want to prove in script, right? So watch this. Abraham, Sarah, and Abimelech. Genesis 20, underline that in your Bible. Abraham journeyed this toward the south country and dealt in Kadesh, Shur, near Gerar. And if you look at that, you're going to find out that it's not necessarily in Egypt. He's in the land of Canaan. But before he went to the king of Egypt, that's in chapter, is that 13? The first time he goes to Egypt and lies, and that's my sister. This is the second time he went. The second time he went, this is what he says. And Abraham said of Sarah, his wife, say, she is my sister, and Abimelech, the great king of Gerar, sent and took Sarah. But Yah came to Abimelech in a dream. And that's what he just said. How does this man speak to Yah if Abraham started it?
Oh, wait. Not him speak to Yah. Yah speak to him. Yahweh came to him in a dream by night.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
All right, now let's go down. I want to show you something. Abimelech didn't touch her,
Wow.
but Abimelech in verse 9 called Abraham. Now this is what he said to Abraham, what have you done to us? What did I do to you? How did I offend you? That thou hast brought on me and on my kingdom of what? Sin. And when, what sawest thou? In other words, what did you see that caused that thou had done this thing? And Abraham said, look at what he said. He said, because I thought. He said, I thought surely the fear of Yah is not in this place.
Wow.
He was wrong.
That's right.
Abraham was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
He assumed that he was the only one
That's right.
Yah was talking to. He ain't the only one that did that on the Bible. Y'all done did it yourself. Quit acting. You done told Yah, it's just me. Y'all like, come on. so, I'm not putting down Grandpa. I'm just saying, I want you to understand that there is something leading up to our captivity. That's all. And we need to see that interaction. So excellent. We have the handmaidens of our patriarch was most likely Canaanite. Okay? All right, now, let's get back to that Genesis, and let's find out we're going to go another level. And I'll kind of just tell you this part. Joseph dreams a couple of dreams. Do y'all see it? said Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it to his brother. Wait, what? Oh, no, I'm skipping a major part. Sorry about that. Now Israel, talk back, verse 3, 37:3. How much? Now, y'all believe that word love represents an emotion. Because you were taught that love is how you feel. But there's a different word in Hebrew for the word love. It's ahava. And ahava has to do with ab. Aleph bet is father. When you put it together, ahav, the bet makes a soft sound when it's in the middle of a word. So ahava will be like abba, abaha, but you're going to say ahava, right? So love is how a father protects his house, cares for his house, not how he feels about caring for his house. Did you get that? Because a real dad don't operate toward his home based on his feelings. He might not feel like going to work. There's a bump on the, he might hear a bump in the night. He might not feel like getting up and checking on it. But at that time, what? Feelings go out the window. So the point is, we don't have a word like that for love in Hebrew. Our love is action-based. So what is he doing to Joseph if it's not emotional? He's protecting him more. He's watching out for him more. And part of that is putting that color coat on him. Who said that? Come on, man, you got a mic.
Say it again.
Jump in there.
The reason why his father gave him the coat of colors is because he could see him off in the distance. It was so he could differentiate him between him and his brothers, or to set him apart.
Yes.
All right.
Amen. Set apart.
It's not that, again, feelings are not what run the most. That's not what run the Hebrew. Feelings will follow, but that's not what runs it. So we see him doing something to his son. Now, why does he feel overprotective? That's a better word. Why is he overprotective of Yosef? Come on, man.
The baby.
He was the child of his old age.
Yep, that's it.
That's it.
And
There's
the
another mic. Everybody get you got some stuff.
one he truly
I love all my kids and grandkids. But that baby, everybody else get mad. Why y'all get mad? That's the baby.
Yeah.
So they got jealous of him because the Yaakov, who's really Israel, is overprotected. Y'all know they get so mad at Yah actually gives him dreams. It's in the Bible. What verse? That's 5. And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told his brothers, and they hated him even more. Our word for hate in Hebrew, shana, did I say it right? Shana? A sinah. It has, so a shin is sharp. And it has to do with a sharp point. So like when you step on a thorn, and it just, it makes you stop. You got to pull it out. It makes you turn. So the Hebrew word for hate means to turn away from. Again, we're not dealing with a great emotion as much as we are dealing with an action. To separate. When you step on that thorn, the first thing you do is you stop, you turn, and then you pull that thing out and throw it away. Right? So Joseph had become a thorn to them. If you go up earlier, you're going to find out how come he became a thorn. because he told on them.
Busting them out.
Snitches get stitches and wind up in ditches. Have y'all heard that before?
It's the truth.
Straight out the Bible.
Yes.
I keep telling y'all your DNA, your DNA is digital. It happened to Joseph. He snitched, he got stitches, ended up in ditches. They threw him in a pit, remember? So,
That's amazing.
have you guys heard of karma? Like in Buddhism, they call it karma. You know they stole that from the Bible.
Yeah. Yeah.
We didn't get something from them. That culture stole that from us.
Right.
You reap
Come on.
what you sow.
Good and bad.
But you reap later than you sow. And the worst thing is you reap more.
You said it.
So we had this saying that I always say, whatever you plant, you gotta eat. So you gotta realize that whenever the harvest comes up, you're responsible for eating. You don't throw away food. So if it's good and sweet, you eat it. If it's bitter and barley or tastes real bad, you have to eat it. And that's how y'all reacts to us. They did not throw away crops, no matter how. That's why we got seasons. They didn't throw away crops; they ate it.
So what happened? They go, eventually we're going to end up in Egypt. They sold their brother. And when they get there, the leadership, after so many years, puts all of their descendants in slavery. And they call them, why? Oh, you forgot about what you did to your brother. Yeah, but he snitched on us, but y'all was clowning. He was supposed to tell Pops. Well, he had a dream that he was better than us. He had a dream that he was going to be the king and all that stuff. I can hear him fussing right now. Can you hear me, Hebrew? Do you know what they were supposed to do to their little brother? They were. Who said that? I heard it over here. Was that you, Mrs.? What did you say? They were supposed to be protecting him like Israel was. How come they don't have the same attitude toward Joseph that their daddy had? Their daddy recognizes genius. Their daddy recognizes special. That the father recognizes a spiritual connection with his boy. He put a coat on him, man, of various colors, like everybody. That boy right there is special. You're supposed to teach the other brothers were supposed to be like, yeah, ain't nobody gonna mess with my little brother either. Right. But this little Hebrew right here, he's smart. He's deep. He's wise. But they got jealous.
But you know what fueled that? What fueled that whole, this is what we talk about polygyny a lot. But what fueled that is you got to look at the environment that they came out of. Everybody knew that Rebecca was loved by the other women. So you don't think the conversations that were had in that house didn't spill over to the kids? Because the women are over the children.
That's right, that's right, that's right.
So the conversations, remember, I'll let you lay with him if you give me these flowers. Well, you give me the mandrakes. You got my husband, now you want my mandrakes too? Mm-hmm. That my son got me? Mm-hmm. I'll let you sleep with him tonight here, girl. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? So these conversations spill over. This is what they don't tell you about polygyny.
That's right.
Is that there is an unstable spirit in it. Because you have to deal with jealousy.
That's right.
It's a perversion to put more in your basket than you can carry. That's why I think about the manna. Mm-hmm. You get enough for that day, and then on the day before you get extra. Mm-hmm. But it's supposed to last you for 2 days. That's why when you have the word woman, you don't have extra letters on the end of it. Or when you have the word Av, you don't have extra letters, extra B's. Because you don't need them. Okay? I'm done.
So to add to this, I'm just preparing, just talking about the mindset of our people before they went into captivity. It was already messed up. Mama and them fighting each other. But Jimmy just brought that out. We got 4 baby mamas.
Trust me, I
In the
know
same
that
house.
I got it.
You got a father that does what every father does, to try to protect the baby. He loved it, made him a coat. Beautiful multicolored coat. I'm trying to figure out why all other 10 brothers ain't made their little brother a coat. Y'all grown. You can't go out and help make your little brother a coat. You that selfish.
Hey,
They said, let's throw him in a pit. First they said, let's kill him.
right.
Yeah. That's what they miss.
We're talking pre-slavery mindset
That's
among
what they miss.
brothers.
Exactly.
See, we're going to pull the rosy-colored glasses off of y'all this afternoon. Because y'all looking at the scripture through some weird lenses. You don't talk about killing your baby brother. What is wrong with you?
Well, if we look at inheritance that are involved and you have siblings fighting over inheritance and then the baby is the favorite, the mindset is that he may get the inheritance.
Which actually he ends up getting. He ends up getting it. But it's because the other 4 boys, the first 4, they all blew it.
That's right. There you go.
Now, of course, Judah gets the scepter, but Yosef gets the inheritance. He gets the name. That's why when the
That's right.
kingdom split,
There you
the
go.
10 were called Israel.
That's right. That's right.
Judah couldn't keep the name Israel. He had to give it up. But yeah, that's what they probably worried about. But even then, that's dumb.
They also illustrate.
Who said that?
It also illustrates. We always talk about different nations poisoned us with this, and this. We were already doing things against the Most High
There you
before
go,
we were even mingled with anybody else.
There you go. Exactly.
That's part of our dysfunction, because
Right there.
the first
Already doing that.
laws that we're supposed to be following is what? Yah says what? Love his, how you love Yah.
Yeah, yeah.
By loving
Yeah,
his
yeah,
laws,
that's
statutes,
the
and his
commandment.
commandments.
That's right.
So we was already in dysfunction.
That's right.
Because we're so quick to always run away from what Yah is always trying to tell us to do. We're so quick to try to go on our own, and that's why in every captivity you see we going into is all that same dysfunction. We're just so busy trying to see what I can get out of this
That's right. That's right.
compared to what Yah is telling us
There
to
you
do.
go.
We're doing our own thing, and that's why we're constantly always in the same trap.
That's right. That's
Over
right.
and like
Same
my
cycle over
brother's
and
been saying, over and over again. We ain't gonna never get out because we're doing the same thing that
over.
got us
Over
in
and
it.
over. Exactly. There you go.
I would say that it goes back to the garden as well, as we already know. Cain and Abel, there ain't nobody else out there to beef with, and they up here, one of them plotting to kill the other. And that's the same exact thing that's happening. That's what we see all across America, all across any other nation that we find ourselves in captivity. We are still out there killing each other more than anybody else. For what reason? Jealousy.
There you go. There you go.
So we got to break the cycle.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
One of the prophecies of the Bible is that Ephraim is going to drop the beef with Judah. And Judah's going to drop the beef with Ephraim. They're coming together. Ezekiel chapter 36, 37, 38. Y'all got to read them together. Read those chapters together, because they go together. When you get to 38, the dry bones don't even know that they are Yah's marching army.
Right.
Yes.
They don't even know they're the whole house of Israel, not just Judah. And my point is, we got to lay the beat down. We're going to keep killing each other. But waking up to our true identity helps. Because I think if you really knew you was killing another Hebrew Israelite and not just killing some nigger,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm just using that term, because that's the byword they put on you. So long as you got a byword on you, then you're making that person less than human and their life don't mean as much.
There you go.
But when you're trying to kill one of Yah's chosen people, and if you realize that's your brother,
Yeah.
so you see there's a lot of stuff pre-slavery. So just looking at what we saw today, we know that eventually they in trouble. Because you're not sliding. You're going to, whatsoever the scripture says in Galatians, I think around chapter 5 or chapter 6, he said, don't be deceived. Y'all's not mocked.
Exactly.
You think you're going to make a joke out of him? No, whatsoever a man soweth, that. So we see, and these brothers brought out stuff that I didn't even see already, but we see a pre-slavery mindset. They end up going into a place called the Promised Land, but them sins are still there.
That's right. That's right.
I don't have time to go through this whole story, but I just want you to remember something. When they finally get into Egypt with their brother, they're scared to death because the prophecies are coming true. They don't know he's, by the way, that's another picture. Right? They don't know he's not an Egyptian.
Right.
Now, the Egyptians is black, and he's hiding in Egypt, or he's a leader in Egypt, and they get in there. But you don't say he's a white boy from Europe. As soon as they walked into Egypt, they'd be like,
Well, that's very important because you find the same thing with Moses. You find the same consistency with Paul, taken as the Ethiopian. And but it makes sense because we just said, who were they marrying?
That's right.
I mean, in my book, I refer to us not as Hebrew Israelites. I refer to them as each generation as they crossed ancient African Hebrew Israelites. We have that blood, even though people don't want to have that blood because we've been programmed to push that out.
Even amongst our own people, they push that too. That we're not exactly.
Yeah. So the key is if we study, I mean, it's there for you to see. But we remember, well, what condition we've been programmed, and we have to understand the programming so we can unplug.
I'm not yet. I'm good. She's trying to ask something.
someone else?
She's asking something about the.
Well, I was just asking, you used the term African, and we know that, from studying, from my understanding, that is not the original name. They're Hamites, they're from Ham, Cush, and those wonderful people. So why would you use the name African?
Well, I try to use names that, I'm working with two different groups of mentality.
Okay,
We
so you're
can
trying to
program
reach them.
to believe, I mean, the original name for Ethiopia is not Ethiopia, okay? It's Cush.
Cush.
But also before Cush, it was what? Nubians.
Nubians.
So, but we're not familiar with these terms. So I try to throw them in slowly and add the other ones so that you can remember. It's just like someone telling me, they never called themselves Egyptian. And yeah, but the people today are what? Arabs. They call themselves Egyptian. They never did that. They were Kemet. But I can't tell people that because people won't even get what I'm talking about. So I try to sneak it in, okay, get the Kemet.
Make it
I'm
plain.
trying to get it, because I got to reach you on your level. If I go over you, then, you're just going to be lost. And that's not the point. The point is
Reach it.
to help us understand where we've been brainwashed so that we can make correction.
Thank you.
And if we don't do that, then we get into trouble. And as he was talking about some of the slave mentality, I was thinking about Deuteronomy and the Bible. It talks about in the 10 Commandments, or right after it, that visiting the iniquities of the fathers, of the third, the fourth. Right, and so we can see that pattern. The same thing with Abraham lying, and what did Isaac do? Same thing. So we see these things happening, and remember, we're just a product of who? Of our parents. For some reason, we don't want to be a product of our parents. You know, I don't know where you got your blood from, where you got your but that's, you know. And so we have to, so the Bible is telling us certain things so that we can understand the laws that govern all of these different things so that we can what? Live in harmony with them, we didn't violate them, and then now, hey, I pass in your iniquity, and so now, I don't have it, but I'm doing it. So that's when you have to recognize, hey, we want to put it into it. Like he said, today we got to come to the point that we got to stop killing each other. I think about the slave mentality. Notice today, nobody goes, black people don't shoot white people. Okay, white people shoot black people.
Right.
And black people shoot
Black people.
Why do we shoot ourselves? Because we look in the mirror, and what do we see? A black person that we've been told that is not worth living. So we hate ourselves. It's a self-hatred. So when we see our brother, who do we see? Ourselves. And so we want to what? Take them out. As the brother said. Image.
All right. So now we're going to look at, that's pre-mindset, pre-slavery mindset. Hating, gossiping, jealousy. All right. Now let's look at what's going on in slavery. Exodus chapter 1. By the way, the name of this book is, these are the names. I remember I was teaching a lesson, and somebody said, why are the names important? I said, we got a book called Names. You want what book in the Bible called Names? I already know people don't know the Hebrew. So I said, the book of Exodus was named by Europeans, Greek, because they wanted you to focus on the Exodus, right? Just the leaving Egypt. But Exodus is not about leaving Egypt. It is in there, that's big. But this book is about how Yah has the names of the children of Israel and how he makes them a nation. This book is about how he built a nation. So we got to get the Egypt story. That's important because he gets us out of Egypt to make us into a nation. But watch this. These are the names. That's how it starts. Yeah, Shimon. Of the children of Israel, when they came out of Egypt, every man according to his household with Jacob, here they go. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah. We know that these are Europeanized. Issachar, Zebulun, Benjamin, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher. All the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls, and Joseph was in Egypt already. And Joseph died, and all the brethren, and all that generation, and the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceedingly mighty. And the land was what? It was Hebrew everywhere. Full of them. Do you know right now they're trying to tell you they can't find a trace of Hebrews in Egypt? But my question is, who are you looking for?
Right.
Because if you were looking for Japheth, you might not find a trace. But if you're looking for the Hebrews, the book said they was what?
Filled.
It's filled. And they're all over. Not no one or two. Now, there rose up a new king over Egypt. Y'all see that in verse 8? Which knew not. Now, it didn't mean he didn't know about Joseph. That Hebrew word there means he didn't care anything about Joseph.
There's no covenant.
He didn't care about nothing he taught or did or saved. Disregarded that. First of all, you cannot take over a nation and not know how that nation is still there. It's not the way kingdoms work. When we get ready to go, when this country watch it. They're going to take me off of YouTube, man. I don't want, when empires go to take over other countries, believe me, they know who the leaders are in them countries. They know the history of those countries. They know the resources of the country. They didn't know. So he knew Joseph. He knew him in the way English word. What I'm saying is he didn't recognize him. It was like, I don't care nothing about him and his people.
No, in Hebrew.
So watch this. He said unto his people, behold, the people of the children of Israel. Now, how you know Israel if you don't know Joseph?
There you go.
You see how the text sounds? But now when you keep reading it, you know who they are, children of Israel. He said they are what? And what? Not my words. I told y'all that earlier, didn't I? Oh, you gotta run? Oh man, shalom. I'll keep make sure you leave your information, man. Oh, you got it? All right. Told her. Did you put musician next to it? Because there was 100 people in this room today. Yeah, make sure you let so I know who you are when we get ready to put this together. All right. So do you all see with plain vision now that they know who these children are? They know that this is the children of Israel, but he's disregarding the contributions made to Egypt and the salvation that came through, of course, Yah, through Yosef. If you can see that clearly, say hallelujah. Hallelujah. And those that are online, put a 7 in the room. You can see that clear. So now we need to see the mindset of what slave masters do. What I saw in here was they didn't confront the Hebrews. They talked behind their back and came up with a plan. That's what I see.
I'm in the room, I put a 7 in the room.
Okay, when we're talking about slavery, the first thing they have to do is change your name.
That's right.
Why? Now you have identity. Right. It's just like when the Hebrews came into Babylonian captivity. What names do we remember them by? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. That was not their name. You see that? But that's the same thing. First thing that they said in Roots, what did they say? You are no longer what?
Come to the kitchen.
You are what? I mean, that's it goes. And they know that if you can, and inside the name is the name of your God.
That's right.
So their true names was Ananiah, Mishael, and Azariah.
That's right. Right.
So those were the key names.
Right.
And so we have to remember, and the next thing they want to do is change their diet,
That's right.
change their lifestyle. What did we do? I mean, it's the same pattern to what? This day. And we should what? We should be hip to it.
Right.
But we don't. And so I tell people, oh, your name is William Amen. No, I don't go by William. That's my slave. And I said, if you call me William, that means you really don't know me. So white dude, he was always trying to get that on me. And I asked him, he asked me, why do you guys call yourself African American? I said, because we're Africans that are in America, and you're a European American. I'm not no European American, I'm an American. I said, wait a minute. The true Americans y'all have locked up in concentration camps called reservations. You called them when they left to go down to Mexico because you were killing them off. Now they want to come back and you call them illegal aliens. How backwards is that? We are the true illegal aliens. You are illegal alien, and you call the true people the opposite. So how has things become so confused? Or was it all in the plan?
Anybody else want to put something in on that? What these slave masters are doing? So they're looking at the Hebrews, and they're making a plan behind their back. And one of the plans is how we're going to stop them from growing because they're afraid. There's a parallel. You have fear. In the back, see your hand.
They make us dependent on the system.
Huh?
They make us dependent on the system.
Oh, my goodness. So, all right, because that's what we're going to get to in a moment. One of the problems with slavery is what's called Stockholm Syndrome. And we don't really know, that's why they had to give it a weird name. We don't know why that happens to people. Scientists, people who work with the mind and the nerve system and all that, they don't know why people, after a while, start to fall in love with their captors and envy their captors and want to be with their captors. They don't know why that happens. But it does happen all the time. And it's definitely happened to us. Here in this text, one of the craziest things you're going to see is they came up with a plan to first overwork them. They were going to put the taskmasters, and when they found out that they kept multiplying the fish, they said, man, we got to kill them. So they went to the midwives and said, when they get ready, they'll kill the boys. That's a whole nother message. There's an attack. I tell my sisters all the time across the country, my coatee. You got to flush all that garbage they put in your head when you grew up about you the woman and you all that and da 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 da. Listen, the man ain't after you like he is after us. The reason why you may advance faster is because you really are not the target. I ain't mad at your advancements. I'll give y'all praise for your advancements. I'm pushing for you to go high as you want to go. Hallelujah. And what I'm saying is just know that your road is a little easier than that brother's road. Because they don't see you as a threat. They don't even like us to wear our beard. That's scary. We wear a beard.
Matter of fact, come next week, they telling me I must shave my beard coming next week.
Already been there to my job. I left my job because of that.
Yeah, that's why. So that's one of my.
You know? See that? You know what else we can't do? We cannot raise our voice. Go somewhere and yell. Please, like, I just hear a lion roar. What's going on over here? No, we just joking. Well, actually, it'll come like this. Hey, guys. Got a phone call, you know. Just come check on you. Everything all right? Everything all right? You know, we're just laughing. It's kind of loud. It's kind of loud. But they ain't never pulled over nobody that ride down with a white pickup and a Confederate flag talking about, yeah!
Right. Tell the truth, sir.
But if we holler shalom too loud, woo! Hey guys. Can't yell. Can't lift your voice. Cannot gather together.
Right, there it is. Becky.
Slaves cannot assemble.
Lake Washington.
Those laws on the books at one time.
Do you understand now why we can't get together? See, this is what this whole discussion is about. Let you see the effects, pre-slavery mindset. Now we talk about what goes on, what happens to us while we're slaves. You cannot assemble. Why? They always in fear. You're going to come together, join with the enemy. It's on the board, it should be. Join with the enemy and fight the system.
They also realize that, listen, they read our book. I want you to understand this. The system is set up. The system is set up according to our book. And they use our book against us because we don't read.
The book is a big court case if people really read it.
That book right there, we always say it in our
It's a big
fellowship
court case.
that y'all ain't ready for this book. Because this book is a legal book. It is a book of contracts and covenants. And if you don't understand the contract or the covenant, you will fall on the outside. That's why they keep us in a state of fear, because we don't look in this book.
All right, and we're going to fast forward now in Moses' life to see something else going on in the mind of the Hebrews. Moses is being raised in Pharaoh's house. And nobody knows he's Hebrew but his mama and the women who ain't talking. Remember, baby was pushed in the Russians by the river. She said, "What's that baby?" They opened it. He said, "Oh, that's one of them fine Hebrew babies. Good looking baby. Oh my good." Y'all didn't read it? It was love at first sight. You know, everybody want to adopt us. That ain't nothing new. Boy, what? This is still an arc, right? We still talking.
Yeah.
Angela Jolie got like 7 of them in there. I just want to say something. He grew up in the house. They didn't know, which means they must have treated him like everybody else. But chapter 2, verse 11. And it came to pass in those days when Moses was what? Grown. When Moses was grown, he had a different mindset than the other people, the other Hebrews. Did anybody know why?
It's hard.
It's not a hard question. Surface.
Because
Right, but even more plain than that.
his heart, he knew he was an Israelite. He knew he was different.
He nursed them.
His mother
Oh, his mother did nurse him. Oh,
put
man.
the word in.
Yes, she did.
And yeah,
Yes.
and he was free.
There it is.
Right.
While all the rest of his brothers was what? Slaves.
Yes, sir.
He was a free man. So free people, I'm trying to tell y'all something. People who are born and raised free have a different mindset, is my point. When he became a grown man, you're going to see his mind is different than the slaves, even though they're brothers. Let's see if I'm telling the truth. When he was grown and he went unto his brethren and looked upon their burden, he looked up, he said, "Look at my brother. You know what hard stuff they're going through." And right here it says, "And he spied an Egyptian, smiting," just hitting one of his brothers. Oh, he saw an Egyptian done pulled over a brother for just driving with a blinker out. Drug him out, started beating him down. Both was like, "Wait, whoa, hey!" And what does it say? Verse 12. Come on, y'all, talk back, but we don't be long. He did what? Can everybody online see that he looked this way? Then he looked that way.
Handle his business.
Y'all see that? Y'all see he looked both ways. Because he about to take care of some business. And he looked this way and that way. And when he saw that there was no man, he did what? Mindset. Emmanuel just said that earlier. See, when you're a slave, you don't even, the actual Hebrews today, Israelites, we kill each other. But growing up in the palace, he was like, "I'm not going to kill my brothers. I'm going to kill him. But I'm going to look this way. And I'm going to look that way." That let us know he's straight Hebrew. Another thing we know about him being Hebrew, he wasn't questioning whether or not he could take that dude.
Right.
He didn't question it.
I keep telling you this is DNA. I'm going to speak for every brother in here. Brother, you ain't got to ever say it. I'm going to speak for you. Every brother in here feel like he can whoop everybody in here. Right now. Just walk in the room and spy out everybody. All right. This is where we are. I'm telling you, you ain't got to confess, I'm going to help you. Natural born killers. We the nicest people that you ever want to meet. But don't get it twisted. We're born with a gene. And if you get turned on, and everybody know it. All the rest of the world knew it. That's why the first thing they always want to tell you is, calm down. And we be talking about, "Man, I ain't raising my voice." Y'all ain't heard me raise my voice. This ain't loud, sir. concerned. Because they already know it don't take much. And each of us can take 4 or 5 in any other race on the planet. Especially if they're not like trained professional fighters. If it's just mano a mano, you need more than one. There's a lion gene. We don't even know where we got it. But Moses knew he could take it. Hey, man, I said Moses was such a cold-blooded killer. He said not only did he slew the Egyptians, but he wasn't tired. He killed him and then buried him in the same mode, same day, same time. Normally it takes some effort to kill a man. Man, when it comes to us, man, one punch. My pops, man. Woo. 2 fights in his whole life. First time he hit a man, he smashed all of his bones in his face. He's gone. Just mush, skull, busted. Because the dude was hitting a woman. And my dad was like in his 20s, late 20s. And when he was in the military, he was in full uniform. He was overseas, you know, and some Europeans was drunk. Big dudes, come on. Called him a boy. Full uniform. Pop said, man, I hit him, and I heard his last breath leave. I hit him one time, boom. And he went, and then never came back. I didn't hear it. He never inhaled. He went out, didn't come back. I said, what'd you do? He said, I didn't do nothing. Finished my beer and walked out. I said, no, you didn't. He said, I did. You don't know. So was he dead? Mm-hmm. I never heard him inhale, though. Lion gene. Have y'all watched Mike Tyson? Yes. Go back and review his tapes. They couldn't find nobody for him to fight but us. Because everybody else they put in the ring, it was a joke. He would look at him like, eh. Boom! Boom! Type in Mike Tyson's greatest hits. They don't even look real. I'm just picking one person out of our culture. Y'all all know somebody like that, don't you? I don't know how I got on that. Oh, I was talking about Hebrew strength. But I want you to see, now let's look at slave mentality. And behold, he went out a second day. Oh, and he went out a second day. Behold, 2 men of Hebrews strove together. And he said unto him, man, him that did wrong, wherefore smitest thou your fellow?
That's right.
Can I say it in Hebrew?
That's right.
He said, man, why you step your arcade?
That's right. Exactly.
You see? Black on black crime.
That's right.
I'm using that term because we know they're all black people, but I'm making a point.
Right.
Can you see that in slavery, they having a beef, and it done turned to fisticuff?
Mm-hmm.
But ain't nobody fighting Egyptians.
Okay.
But they about to fight over something stupid. It's so stupid that Moses literally comes to him and says, man, what is this about? Now, what do they say to him? Let's look at the slave mind. Come on.
Who made
Do that sound like your people?
Yeah. Don't judge me.
I tell Yemi, I'm like my mama used to be. She used to be talking to my daddy because it was 8 children. When we was acting good, my mama said, my kids, my children. As soon as we do something crazy, she said, boy, it's your kids. But you better do something with your son. So I do that too now. I'm like, when the Hebrews got good, I say, my people. When they doing something like this, I be telling Yemi, that's your people. You see what they did? They said to him, man, we made you a king. Prince, who you think you are? You ain't nobody. He was fighting for them before he left Egypt. Fighting for justice.
That's right.
Talking about I'm not kneeling to the, Egyptian flag and the Egyptian, what's that thing they play? National anthem. I'm a champion for my people. And I'm not just going to act like a champion. Y'all, I killed a man the other day, buried him in the sand, but I look this way and that way. But the Hebrews was watching him. Come on, let's see if it's stepping fetches. Come on, let's see if that makes you a stepping fetch. It's in the Bible. Come on.
That's right. That's right.
And they said, who made thee a judge over us? Intended thou to kill me? And thou killest thou the Egyptian?
That's right. Wow.
And Moshe feared and said, surely this thing is known. These doggone stepping fetches done spied out the fact. Hey, Master, all I'm trying to say is, you got somebody working with you that ain't all the way in Egypt, you know what I'm saying? Anybody here want to talk about the effects of slavery on the mind?
I just want to bring that up.
I think it is a way to separate the home. And I'm going to explain to you why. Because they want you to lean on a system and not the man, not the source. If you can lean and depend on them, that's why they made our Elohim white. Because they knew if we focused on them, we would honor, if we focused on a white Messiah or a white Elohim, we would then revere them because they look like the image of that so-called God. We don't have self-love because of the mindset that we have been through slavery. All we see is other Negroes. That's what I call them. Negroes. We don't see Hebrews. We don't see people that are made in the image of Yah. We see people that are made in the image of Adam.
Because all Israel is not Israel. That's a whole other thing we don't have time to do today. I just got told what time it was, so we're going to hurry this up. But I want to show you another thing. When Pharaoh heard this thing, which means it really did get back to Pharaoh, he sought to slay Moses. Of course, all of our leaders, when they stick up for right, the powers that be gonna kill them.
Right.
I've been saying this now on the road all over the world. It don't matter if you Malcolm. It don't matter if you Martin. You getting shot. Well, they got us divided. I'm more like Martin. I'm like, no, I'm kind of going to lean into Malcolm. They both got a bullet. It don't matter what side you take. It doesn't even say here, and the Pharaoh called Moses to talk to him about why he did that. He grew up in the Pharaoh's house, so why did you're not going to talk to him? No, he's going to, immediately, we're going to kill him.
That's also
Do y'all?
Yeah, I was gonna say, 'cause like, even when we think we can work so hard for them, be on their side and stuff, but we don't realize they protect people. No matter how close you don't work with them, they'll attack their people, they're attacking you.
So,
Did you hear what she said?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's true. They don't have that kind of division in their camp.
Nope.
Right.
They went back to Pharaoh, and Pharaoh like, well, let's kill him.
Slave.
All right, now, I'm going to fast forward to chapter 5. Moshe then already went 40 years in the wilderness, met Yah, turn around, come back after 40 years. Pharaoh, the old Pharaoh dead, and the new Pharaoh on the throne. Moshe comes to confront him. This man gets so mad, he tells him, go get your own straw for the brick.
yeah.
So the people get mad.
See, Moses?
And the officers of the children of Israel, verse 19, that they were in an evil case. After it was said, you shall not diminish aught from your bricks of your daily task. And they met Moses. Who met Moses? The officers of the children of Israel. That's the leaders, the preachers, the pastors, the community organizers. They met Moses and Aaron, not my words, who stood in the way. As they came from Pharaoh. Now they done went to Pharaoh demanding that Pharaoh let the people go. So they confronting power, right? So you would think what should happen, all the people should be outside cheering them on. Like, yeah, man, you my
neighbor.
Right.
Is that what's going on?
No.
What's happening according to text, verse 20? In verse 21, I'm saying. And they said unto them, we so happy y'all here. You're making this wonderful. It's just going to be a few more days and we up out of here. No, that's not what they said. They said, Yahuwah look upon you and judge. Oh, they religious. I told you that was your pastor. Have you heard that? I know Emmanuel's heard it. I know everybody on this panel. We trying to help people get free, teach them the truth. We put our lives on the line every time we go somewhere. And yet somebody's pastor gonna say, man, y'all gonna get it. Why? Going against master. You make it, this is what they said. You make it harder on us. Same mentality. Brother literally told me, he said, man, if you keep preaching what you preach and teaching what you teaching, you're going to starve to death. This is a pastor got a big church. You're going to starve to death. You know what I told him back? Then I'll just be dead.
Right.
Because I'm in this till the casket drop. He told me. You know what that told me about him? He's in it for the money.
Right.
Man, shoot, you keep teaching that, boy, you gonna starve it. I'll be dead then. And you're supposed to be there with me.
Right.
All right. Anybody on the panel have anything they want to say about this particular attitude toward people who try to liberate during the times of slavery?
Ezra 9, when they came back from one of their captivities, as soon as you get them back out of the captivity or into the land, people turn right back around and do the exact same thing that put them in captivity. And he's like, are you kidding me? Y'all doing the same thing that we just left captivity for. You put yourself back in the same position for us to get taken away again. And that's our mentality of our people, because they don't go that extra mile to learn what Yahweh is telling us to do. And Yahweh has already told us to love him with all our hearts and all our might. Love his laws, statutes, and his commandments. He said, do not run after the way of the other nations. We're so busy trying to run and follow other nations.
That's right.
And we are neglecting our Elohim that we're supposed to be following. Because we're following their gods.
Right.
We're following their practices. That's why we can do Christmas and not Shavuot. We can do Thanksgiving and Easter and all that stuff. But yet when it comes to God, or our Elohim's feast days, no one don't want nothing to do with it because of candy. Most of their feast days is based on candy. Sweet.
Yep.
When you look at it, it's candy. Yeah. I saw that. You see that experiment where they got the rats? Yep. Or mice. They did an experiment with mice where they got them drugged out on cocaine and then they put them on candy and then they put them in the same cubicle with cocaine or candy. And all the mice went straight to the sugar. They was more addicted. They wasn't addicted to the cocaine. They was more addicted to that sugar. So that's why Satan is just tricking us with candy. There you go, trick or treat.
Valentine's Day?
It's about candy.
All of it is.
Man, I'm gonna throw my
Sugar.
throw my candy away. Okay, let's deal with the last thing. Let's talk about now mindset coming out of slavery. So we talked about what was the mindset going in. We can see, we just touched on what happens to a person when they're in slavery. Because this even gets deeper when we study Exodus. And what Doc was saying, and the panel, they change your name, they change your diet, and then of course they try to change your allegiance. So we see that with the big statue, everybody got to bow. And of course they're gonna get jealous of you too, like they did Daniel when Daniel kept praying. So they're gonna try to get you to change your worship. They was watching him so cold-blooded, they said, if anybody prays anybody but you can't. But they were trying to get one man, put a decree in the whole nation to get one person. Do you know the reason why many of us cannot be citizens in Israel today? Do y'all know why? Because we refuse to reject Hamashiach.
Oh, yeah.
And we're not letting nobody prick us to be a part of the covenant. Because that's what they do if you want to be a citizen there. For the men, they call that a small circumcision. Well, they want you to literally get pricked and blood come out your penis. And they know we ain't doing that. We're not denying my shot, we're not getting pricked. So they're like, well, you can't come here. But all the other nations ain't got no problem with that. Everybody that's from all over the world, they just join, they come to Israel, they say, man, my mama was a Jew, and then they sign the papers, they get pricked, and they in, they like happy they can be. That decree is not about nobody but you and me, because they know we ain't doing it. But some of us did it, some people over there did it. But we as a group of people, not doing that. So sometimes there are huge decrees that go all over the world just to hold you back. All right, so that's during slavery. Now let's talk about post-slavery, and we're done with this discussion. I hope it's been helpful, hasn't it been?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so when they came out of Egypt, and really, Dr. Manuel already dealt with this, so I'm just going to touch on it. One of the first things they did, before they even got across the sea, they started talking about we want to go back.
Go back.
Anybody want to touch on that?
The only thing I can think of when I start talking about that is just like when you're coming out of anything, you got to know where you're going. Because see, we're so open and being led blind by anything. Just like we were talking about back in Genesis, we talk about Abraham, the land promise. So when you look at Abraham or Genesis 15, when they came out of Egypt, they was coming out like Maury was talking about earlier. They was coming out as a nation, but when did that prophecy get fulfilled? So we got to understand our history. We got to, like I said, get out of the world mentality. Start picking up our history. Like my brother, his school is going to teach us. But like we look at that Abraham promise that Yah gave him in Genesis 15, it says, "And thou shalt go like father in Peter." But if you read the story, it's talking about he's going to die at old age, which is good. But he said, "But in the fourth generation, thou shalt come hither again into the for the land." So where is Abraham here at this time when Yah is talking to him? He's already in the land. Mm-hmm. So when he's saying, so he's already letting them know, y'all gonna get taken out. But in 4 generations, y'all gonna come back. Mm-hmm. So when that Exodus account started happening, that's Yah's bringing us back to the land. But when did it actually get fulfilled is in Deuteronomy 1 verse 8, I believe. That's the fulfilling of that. So before we cross over into that land. But another part of that had to happen is when he said, I'm gonna have to get rid of all the people that's in the land now, that's occupying it. I'm going to send you over there, but like I said, you gotta know where you're coming from, where you're going, and you gotta know all the particulars. You gotta understand who I am and what I'm about to do. And that's why we're talking about you gotta study this book. It's not gonna be easy, but you just gotta study. You just gotta just knuckle down and just bear it and start finding out who we are, what we are as a people, get our name back, like we talked earlier to start. We're gonna take back our book. That means take back our names, take back our culture, take back our language. Oh, did I do that? Oh, we got to, and this is what this book is about. So as we come into these assemblies, that's what we got to do. We got to put this mindset in that Yeshua told us. What mindset is that? Torah. We got to get back to Torah, and that's the whole front of the book. Because if anybody's still talking about the New Testament is warned against the Old Testament, or the Old Testament warned against the New Testament, you already know they don't even know the book.
That's right, that's right.
So you already know, don't even listen to them. So stuff like that. We got to quit listening to false teachers and false prophets in other nations. Because like I said, we got paid agents in our midst. So therefore, we got to learn. Because y'all said study to show yourself approved.
That's right.
And that's the only way we're going to come out of this slave man mentality. To learn and understand who we serve. Or if you're going to be a slave for who? To Yah. If I'm going to be a slave to somebody and something, be a slave to Yah.
So I want to give you these points. And think about this. First time soon they got out. First of all, there was an active obedience that enabled them to escape. Of course, that's Passover lamb. And the blood over the door. When they left that night to go out and they got to the Red Sea, they started panicking. And they said, you mean there weren't enough graves in Egypt? So really they calling Moses a murderer. Mass murderer. And Yah basically leads them across the sea, we know that story, and kills the enemy. Yah didn't lead them there to kill them there. Yah led them there to kill the Egyptians there.
Yes.
Do you see that?
Yes.
A slave mind is hard for them to look outside themselves. They're stuck. And do you notice that when they got into the land, when they crossed the sea, they had to journey for like 50 days before they ended up back at Mount Moriah to get the message. Because Yah was testing them. And they failed every test.
That's right.
He was like, ooh. They need written laws. Coming out of captivity, we have to be reacquainted with Torah.
That's right. That's what's happening now.
Because we come out with a different set of ideas and mindset and all that. So what does Yah do for his people coming out of Egypt? Reestablishes Torah, but this time in a written form. When they come out of Babylon, he does the same thing. That's the whole book of Zephaniah, and like you mentioned, Ezra, and then all the post-exilic prophets like Haggai and all those books. They're trying. Yah does what? After Babylon, you gotta be right. So he reestablishes worship. He reestablishes Torah among the people. That's what he does. So what is he doing with us now? When we came out of slavery this time, we came out with the mentality that the law was completely done away with. So now here we are, the modern day prophets. Take a good look at these brothers while I can. Because cats in this business normally don't last long. And Mashiach said the same thing. He said, you've slayed all the prophets up until now. And all they was trying to do was to get you as a nation to turn back to me and keep my laws, statutes, and commandments. That's it. And he said, they're going to slay me too. One time when he said that, Keeper spoke up. He said, hey man, don't say that. This is what King James Version. Be it far from thee. Hebrew language. Hey man, don't talk like that. Hamashiach said, How about this? Get behind me.
Yep.
If you can't handle that, you can't walk with me. You sound like Hasatan, trying to stop me from doing what I'm supposed to do. Coming out of slavery, we have to be then reintroduced to Torah. Really reintroduced to Yah. Anybody want to say something?
He said something that, he said something about my wife always talks about this too. He talking about the slave mentality. Because the way the slave master's done, now because of that, people introducing the truth. Now they're saying, well, you're just like the slave master. You're saying if you do something wrong, it's death. And you're just like the slave master. You say this, that, and that. And they use the way that the slave master treated them or because of punishment. Punishment is not meant to harm. It's meant to fix a deficiency. So because they used it to harm and kill, no one wants to have any laws or any...
We have to let, thank you for bringing that up. We got to let Dr. Manuel speak on that just for a second, because he told me some stuff yesterday about how people are engineered programmed, and so that they will buck against anything that comes.
Yep. That was
Yeah, I want him to explain why when we bring the truth to people, they fight it so bad. Because you would think they would just accept it.
They say they fed up.
Discountenance.
Well, I know one thing, the way it worked. We had, my ex-wife and I, we had done a presentation to educators, black educators at black schools. And she did the elementary and I did the junior high and high school. And they said that, you know, the material that you have is wonderful. This is what we need. But we'll be fired if we took your books and used them. And I'm saying, well, I thought, you know, that you have come to save the children, and to your dedication was to them, not to your purse. Maybe it was, but it is now. It's the purse. So they were just saying that even though we're black school, even though we're a black academy, even though we're black teachers, even though we're in the black conference, you still scared.
Right.
Because the boys, you know, run upstairs. And I'm like, wow, how could, you know, you say that you're dedicated for raising our children, but you're only dedicated to brainwashing them. And I remember in the Miseducation of the Negro, Carter G. Woodson says that we'll come to the point that we will do automatically what the master wants us to do, not knowing what we are doing. How could you not know what you are doing when you are the one doing it? But that's how brainwashed we will be, and the conditioning that we will be set in, and mold that we have, you know, it's like a mold. You put some in a mold, and you put it in the freezer or whatever, and it solidifies into that. And that's just the way it, you know, that they find themselves. And so now I understand a little more clearer why the Bible says in Revelation chapter 18, Babylon is fallen, become the habitation of devils, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. And he tells us to come out of her, my people. Why? That ye be not partakers of her sin. So that means we are partaking of her sins, even though we don't even know, and we think we're not, and we con ourselves that we're not. And then we don't have any other choice. But that's why he said, I'm calling you out so that you can have another choice. And is it hard? Of course it's hard, because you've been conditioned to, as they said, depend
On the system.
on the system.
Right.
And once the system has you hooked, and he's saying, I'm calling you out.
That's right.
But now he's not just calling us out one way, he's calling us out mentally, physically, and spiritually.
That's right.
And because if we go out any other way, what will we do? We would have okay, I remember this one thing, that, people had come in the, they were trying to come in the front door, the black people, the whites. And some of them said, you can't do that. And they said that there's no back door. Well, then they said the black man will make a back door. So we will make, even if they say you don't have to do it anymore, but we're gonna make a way to get you to the way you're supposed to. And as some of them tell us that we black people need to go find their place. We liked them when they was in their place, and I remember some of the people were just saying that they loved the roaring 20s when black people knew their place. And so that's what they want. They want to train us such that we will train our children and train them
Exactly.
that they will desire to be a slave
Slave, exactly.
and not to be free. But the catch is, if you're free, the consequences are you have to learn how to depend on the Creator
That's right.
100%.
That's right. That's right.
So we're used to our paycheck, we're used to our jobs, we're used to that, and even if the job says, hey, you have to kill somebody, hey, I have to justify it. I mean, it was the government told me I had to do what they say.
That's right.
Whatever, I mean, whatever we find ourselves in. And I remember when I was, I said, okay, I'm ready to move on, and he said, okay, I want you to retire. I said, but I can't live off of retirement. I'll have to be on welfare just to make my bill. He said, listen, don't worry about that. That's not what you need to worry about. You just need to worry about one thing. I will provide. But yeah, we can say that. Doing it, that's a different issue.
That's right. That's right.
And so he had put me out there, and I said, okay, I'll do it. And he put me out there, and he said, okay, he will do that. Was it struggle? Yes. Was it hard? Yes. Did I want to do it? I just say, maybe, I don't know, man. But I said, okay, I have to, because that, and now he's opening up doors for things to happen. Because I remember one guy told me, he was an older gentleman, he died in his 80s, and he had told me, brother, you've been faithful, you've been giving everything, you've been doing everything, one day he's going to reward you.
That's right.
I said, yeah, when is that day, brother? When is he going to reward me? I've been at this for 40 years. And he said, don't worry. And now, as I wait, it might take a whole generation. Right? But at the end, he will be there because he said that, hey, you have to take that step. Like it going into the water, the Red Sea. The Red Sea didn't open and say, jump in. They had to walk out there, and it said that they had to carry it, and they had to carry the ark, and then, and unless we walk out there by faith and actually get to the point that we cannot do it. And I understood the brothers who told me, I can't do this. I said, why can't you teach me? I can't bring this stuff, and I'll be fired. So I understand their dilemma, because we've been taught to depend on them. But at the same time, these are going to be the test in the last days. When he says call out, he means he's going to come out. And if we don't come out, guess what he's going to do? He's going to force us out. And then we really going to be mad. And then we really ain't going to have faith because we didn't choose to come out. But that's the situations, the dilemma that we find ourselves in. And he's there to help us, encourage us, and to bring us to that point. But that walking out, like they say, like Peter walked out, he said, come. I don't know, bro. The storm is raging. You tell me come on, walk on that water? You've got to be mad. He said, come. I said, okay. And he was able to do it. Until what? Until he saw them afraid. Then he started thinking. So, hey, no one's saying it's going to be easy. No one says it's going to be good. But these are going to be the tests in the last days, simply due that our generation before failed. This is our turn. It's up to us to decide to be there, stay there, or to fall in line like everyone else.
Hallelujah. we say that it's a great privilege to be hanging out with you all for the day. Those of you who stayed to the end, hallelujah. All of you that are online, shalom, shalom. Appreciate you. Don't forget to support the work of the Ark. Don't forget how important it is that that you support the Ark and we support one another so we can continue this kind of discussion, continue this kind of study, panel discussion, because it's helping wake up Jacob. If you are hearing this message, it's because Yah has chosen you. It's because Yah wants you free. Because you're still trying to figure out how come your cousin didn't get it. Or your brother. And I hate to say this, it may not be for your cousin or your brother. There is some downsides to post-slavery. And one of them is not everybody going to be free. Because you can bring the slave out of the Hebrew out of slavery, but it's sometimes hard to get the slavery out the Hebrew. So Hamashiach say, he who the Son make free is free indeed. And so if he's calling you out of darkness, out of slavery, now we got a lot more to go. We just touching the surface on this. There's going to be more studies being done about this. But one of the problems we have is that we have that Stockholm Syndrome, our people, by the religious leadership, who threatened them by the Inquisition, who threatened them by disassociation. You know, tell somebody will kick you out of the church, kick you out there, and you think, oh boy, if I get kicked out of the church, I'm going to hell. And don't understand the church itself is satanic.
Right.
The church is a creation of Constantine. Now I'm talking about the Christian church, the white European Christian church. I'm talking about the assembly of the Hebrews, who according to the text was called the Way. We were the sect of the Nazarene. It was made up of Hebrew Israelites and Hamitic people, like you said, original Hebrew. And now we're coming back to it. But we let a made-up religion scare us because they threaten. And I'm going to tell you something, they will come through what they're threatening about. You don't think they won't. But nevertheless, there's going to be every now and then a few of us going to stand up and say, I don't care. I'm at a point now where I say, you know what, I'm in this thing till the casket drop. Because the privilege that I had when he talked to me about who we are, and I look at the millions of people who still walk around in darkness, I'm still trying to tell him thank you for that. I don't know how, I'm saying in Hebrew, Todah Rabbah, I don't know, I can't say it no better. How do you say thank you for opening your eyes to be able to see what's really going on? And I'm told that we still don't see it totally. But he's still opening our eyes every day. Appreciate you all coming. Why don't you give this panel a hand? And shalom to everybody that was in the room. Hopefully this made sense. We're going to deal some more with this on a later date. But hopefully you will see that these trends and these cycles have to be broken. And they can only be broken through the power of Torah. We got to take our book back and teach it the way it was meant to be taught. Hallelujah. 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 Shalom to the 12 tribes worldwide. Hallelujah. All right, that's it. That's it. But it's good to be with you all. We're going to hang.